Dylan Sinn from the Fort Wayne Journal-Gazette, who was over in Columbus, Ohio last night as Indiana gets their most shocking win of the season, down 18 to the Buckeyes in the first half, in which was one of the ugliest halves of basketball I've seen this year. Indiana, here's a stat that just jumped off, Dylan. Indiana only had 8 turnovers in the first half, which it's a little too many for the first half. But regardless of that, it's not like it's this absurd, stupid number. Ohio State had 16 points off of those damn turnovers. They scored off of every single one of them.
Yeah. And it wasn't like, I didn't think IU's transition defense was particularly bad either. Like they got back
because Indiana ended up being outscoring Ohio State in transition points.
Exactly. Like it was a very weird situation, and it kind of inflated Ohio State's first half performance a little bit. But yeah, I saw that at halftime, and I was like, the turnovers were 8-5. Indiana had 8, and Ohio State had 5, and it was 16-2 in points off turnover. It was wild how just Ohio State was able to run away with that game in the first half. And then you get early in the second half, you get Malik Renew with a technical foul 30 seconds in. You get basically a pair of offensive rebounds and a step-in 3 for Ohio State. The lead is 18 at that point. It's like, all right, well, this game's over. I wrote that on Twitter. I said, well, it's a wrap on this one. You can take that. You can like put this one in a box and send it away. And I don't know if I've ever been more wrong about the direction a game was going.
It's not just you, everybody.
And there was just no indication that not even that IU would come back and win. There was no indication that they even considered it. Like that there was anything they could do to kind of even get back in the game or make it
the body language, just the body language.
Yeah.
I've said, I would have lost my shirt if you said, give me 20-1 odds and I'll bet you $100. I would have bet anything. Yeah. The body language, the track record of this team, Kalel Ware not playing, and that's another thing, Mike Woodson, good God almighty. When he picked up his third foul early in the second half, I'm like going, Woodson, if you take him out, they might just take you off the sideline now. He sat him for like an hour once he picked up that second foul.
No, he did. It was the final 9 minutes of that first half. I was look, you know me. I come on this show just about every week, and I say, look, Mike Woods is the coach. He's going to be the coach next year. Everyone relax. But boy, howdy, at the end of that first half, I was like, Mike, my man, put Kalel Ware in the game. Figure out a way to get some minutes from him here and there. Because here's the thing. Look, 2 fouls is 2 fouls. I get it. You don't want him to pick up a third. I totally understand that. But you can have some creativity. Play offense for defense. Trust your guy a little bit, right? Like you have to trust Kalel Ware in that moment. He's your best player or your second best player, depending on how you feel about Malik Renew. Trust him not to pick up a third foul. Like, give him a few minutes out there, because when he went out at the end of in the middle of the first half, IU was down 4. By the time the half was over, they were down 9. And as soon as he came off the floor, the defense basically fell apart, because he is the guy who protects the rim. He's the guy who covers up mistakes. And you can't keep him off the floor for 9 minutes in a row. You just can't. And to be clear, it worked, right? It did. He ended up with 4. He played the last 8 minutes of the game with 4 fouls, and it worked. But boy, the process there is not good. You have to grab a couple of minutes here and there. I watched Purdue. Zach Edey plays in the first half with 2 fouls. Matt Painter trusts him to play and not pick up a third foul. You have to have trust in your players.
Well, now wait a minute. Now Edey doesn't get called for fouls.
So okay, but if this is assuming he gets called for 2 fouls and a half, Matt Painter he steals minutes for him. He goes offense for defense. He puts him out there and says, Zach, don't pick up a third. And he does it. He trusts him. And you got to have trust in your guys sometimes and just kind of throw caution to the wind, because IU was getting killed when Ware was off the court. Even though Ware wasn't playing great, IU was getting killed when he was off the court. You got to play him a little bit. And it worked out. Like I said, it worked out. You can't kill him too much because it worked. But, boy, the process there is not good. It's not.
Yeah, he did not, and still, all told, he did very little from an offensive standpoint. Yeah. But it was from a defensive standpoint, and he only had one rebound. It wasn't because he's in there pulling he was still he altered shots. It's when you've got a 7-footer in there, it changes things. Yeah. So just the mental thought that I got to get my shot over this guy, I got to get around this guy. Yeah. It changes things.
Yeah, I mean, he was on the court at the end of the game. He made one of the best defensive plays that I have seen this entire season, where he was out there on the perimeter. He took the ball away from Jamison Battle on the perimeter, just poked it right away from him, completely clean, got that steal and the run out, and would have had kind of a Showtime dunk at the end there, except he blew a tire. You gotta hope he's okay. That would be all IU needs at this point, is for another injury to crop up here.
And that looked. Well, that looked wonky.
It looked rough.
Because I on the replay I saw you see this move where it goes sideways. I'm like, I was like, but it's like he's lucky it didn't go any further. But I think of Michael Penix, who did less than that, I always reference Teddy Bridgewater, former Louisville quarterback when he was at Minnesota, dropping back in a non-contact thing, and he's out for damn 2 years because of that. But Ware only was 6 points last night, 3 of 10 shooting, 1 rebound, but it was Malik Renew with a double-double, 26 and 14. He left some points at the line, man, 10 of 15. Indiana's got to fix that. 67%. They missed 10 free throws last night. They had 31 attempts, and they hit 21. Look at this game that they're scrapping by, and they're freaking shooting 67%. Meanwhile, you look at Ohio State, who had 27 free throws. They end up getting less than Indiana, and there was a pretty big disparity early on, but they hit 24 of those for 89%. That's what kept Ohio State in the game and kept Indiana from making this even close.
Yeah, Jamison Battle was 10 for 10 at the foul line. Man, like that's
4 of 11 from the field.
Yeah, like he didn't play particularly well. He just kept getting to the line and making his free throws. But no, by the way, we didn't talk about it a second ago. But Khalil Ware, okay, he goes down the court. He's gonna have the dunk that kind of seals the game, and he blows the tire. What a play by Anthony Leal to be chasing that play and go get the rebound when Khalil Ware misses that shot. Like, Anthony Leal could have just said, Khalil's got it. He's way ahead of the field. I'm not going to chase the play. He chased the play all the way down and put himself in position to go get that rebound and keep the ball for IU. Because remember, IU is only up by 1 point at that time. So if Ware loses that ball and Ohio State goes and picks it up by the baseline, now they have 5 seconds and a timeout to go draw something up and get a good shot. And Anthony Leal grabs that rebound and gets fouled. What a play by Anthony Leal. Heads up to kind of just stay in the play. So I wanted to make sure we talked about that before kind of moving on here, because that was fantastic.
Well, I'm glad you did, because there's all of these fans and fan sites, whatever, that are Anthony Leal's got to be starting. I don't know why Anthony Leal's not starting. You know what? Why? He's great coming off the bench. And let me tell you who needs people coming off the bench to contribute. A team named Indiana. They end up with 8 bench points last night.
6 of them from Anthony.
6 of them from Anthony Leal. Not a particularly great night for him offensively, but mainly because he went 3 of 6. 3 of 6 at the line. 3 of 6 at the free throw line.
Yeah.
Again, free throws. Come on. That drives me insane. If I'm a coach, he's
like a 40% 3-point shooter, and he's going 3 of 6 at the line. Like, oh God, it's so frustrating.
But he hit probably the most important 3 I don't know. The Iowa game was pretty big.
Yeah,
for
Iowa
him,
game.
but,
Yeah, the Cup's 3 against Iowa too. Like, yeah,
but if that shot doesn't go down last night, they don't win that game.
They don't. No, they don't. They lose. And like, because IU they ran the play to get Trey Galloway downhill, and then the idea was Galloway was going to shoot, and Malik Renew was weak side for the offensive rebound if he misses. But Ohio State had that well covered. They had 2 guys guarding Galloway on the floater, and then like basically 2 more guys weak side to cover the offensive rebound on Renew. And so Anthony Leal's wide open in the corner. So Trey Galloway made the right play, but you still have to knock down the shot if you're Anthony Leal. And he did not hesitate, and that ball did not barely touch the net. That was as pure as you are going to get from that position. And what a shot. Because IU had that game in hand and tried to give it away. They were up 2 with 2 minutes left. Ohio State misses, and then IU gives up an offensive rebound in the tying basket. And then they run a poor offensive possession and get no shot. And then they commit a foul. And it's like, well, they had this game and they gave it away. And all that comeback would have been for nothing. And then Anthony Leal pulls out one of the shots of the year. And it's like, well, suddenly Anthony Leal is IU's 4th or 5th best player. How did we get here? Now, I'm in the camp. I do think Anthony Leal should start. I think that you start Trey Galloway at the point.
Oh boy!
I think you bring Gabe Cupps off the bench because I mean that's what they did.
No.
They ran that lineup with Leal and Galloway for the final 9 minutes of the game last night, and they outscored IU or OSU by 15 during that stretch. Like it was the finishing lineup. Like if you don't want to make it the starting lineup, fine, but it should be the finishing lineup. Like that was the lineup.
Now we're talking. So now we're in agreement. I was just sitting there getting ready to send out a tweet. All these IU fans that are jumping on this Anthony Leal's got to start bandwagon. No, he doesn't. As a matter of fact, he's probably the best guy to be coming off of the bench for Indiana right now because he pays attention. He's watching the game. So when he does come in, he knows what's going on and is probably the best guy to have coming in because you've got the only guy who is probably paying attention on that whole damn team as to all of the I was watching something last night that showed a bigger play by Anthony Leal, which preceded his 3-point shot, and that was defending Ohio State, I think, on the previous possession.
Yeah, Roddy, I retweeted this video. Yeah, no, I know exactly what you're talking about. He was defending Roddy Gale at the top of the key, and Gale had a great game. And basically, Ohio State wanted to get Gale downhill going to his right, and Anthony Leal just did not let him go to his right.
He kept him up outside.
And that's all scouting. It's basically he knew what Ohio State wanted to run in that moment, and he was like, "You are not going to run that right now. I am going to make sure."
That's what I'm talking about. I guarantee you, very few guys on that team, and that's part of why Indiana has had the season they've had. I don't think that you've got very many guys that are as in tuned to what their responsibilities are in the time of need than Anthony Leal is. Now, does he have the talent that Mackenzie Mbako does? No. Or someone like that? No. But so you've got to weigh that. I agree with you. He right now, he's probably a guy that should be in the finishing lineup. Yeah. Get him to the finish line. A part of that was because Ware sat out so much. It would not have been as glaring had he played in the first half. Yeah. And then Leal, I think he's a good finisher because he knows you've got a coach on the court. You might have a better coach on the court than on the sidelines. Oops, did I say that out loud? But yeah, I do not. He's not. And Todd Leary and I base a lot of this off of what Todd says, and because I listen to people who I know way the hell more than I do, and Todd is in that camp. No, he doesn't need to be starting because all that Gabe Cupps is doing is facilitating. He's not. They're getting zero. They get zero production from him, and you're not going to. What he had 2 points last night. He had 2 points. Ware had 6, so there's 8, and Mbako had 9.
Yeah,
there's 3 of your starters, and you get nothing from them. But Galloway and Renew make up for it, scoring 51 points between them alone. Indiana's got to watch it on the technical fouls, though. They've got another technical foul. The flagrant was kind of crap, but you have to pay attention to your elbows.
The problem now is that the officials are hunting flagrants and technicals for IU because IU has a reputation now, and the officials are like, well, that's IU doing IU things, and they're going to call that. And especially with the technical on Renew. Renew said something. You got to have a little bit.
He was pissed off because of earlier when, what was it?
Well, it was the goaltending call. He thought his shot had been goaltended, basically, and he was mad that they didn't call a goaltend when they called a couple of goaltends on IU on the other end. And so then he got the tech. You have to have a little bit longer of a leash, I think, if you're the official there. He said something. He wasn't demonstrative. I don't know, but I thought it was impressive that Renew, when he got frustrated, he didn't get out of control. He kept, like Mike Woodson said after the game, he kept playing, he settled down, and he didn't let it get the best of him. And I think that was a really mature thing that happened. I give Calvert Chaney some credit, by the way, because Renew was really upset after he got called for traveling on that transition basket.
That's what it was.
Because that wasn't the technical. He almost got a second technical because he was so upset.
And I thought that came first. Didn't that come first?
No. That was after. It was after. It was a couple possessions later because he'd already gotten called for the one tech, and then he almost got called for a second one because of the travel. And that was another. You could go either way. And Calvert Chaney had to calm him down. And Calvert Chaney did a great job of it. And Renew came out and played better after that timeout, and just got IU back into that game through basically sheer force of will. And it was really impressive to see. So give Calvert Chaney some credit there.